You're listening to Cinema Rex. It is an Iranian film podcast, episode 36. Behtash, Sanaeeha, and Maryam Moghadam's My Favorite Cake. So, you're talking about casting today. You've been casting for your film. I've been casting for my film. Casting all around.
Well, we're just talking names, but you were actually doing auditions.
I am doing auditions.
How is it? Explain to the listeners what that process looks like.
It's so tedious. You're hearing the same lines over and over again. And also, you get a lot of compliments as the writer. A lot of people compliment your script, and it's nice to hear, but sometimes you're just like, wow, is this the actor just complimenting the thing they're about to do to say a nice thing to start off the conversation? But I'm also very insecure, so I don't take compliments well.
You know what I like during the audition process? Is like you hear people come in and do variations of the same performance, but then once in a while someone will come in with something so completely different than what everybody else did, and it like jolts you awake.
Yeah, we had Angelina Jolie do that to us today.
Oh, nice.
For our audition.
That's great.
Yeah. She played it as if she was a turtle, and it blew us away.
If you want another Iranian in your film, I would recommend Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, of course. You mean our lead?
Yeah.
Jakey?
Yeah.
Durud bar shoma, Dustan Aziz. This is the Cinema Rex podcast where we talk all things Iranian film, cinema, art, love making, cake making, wine drinking, taxi driving.
Oh, I forgot about that scene.
What else do we talk about? I'm Kaveh Mohabi.
Spicy ramen. I had spicy ramen. And I'm Farhan Moradi.
And we are talking today about the film My Favorite Cake.
Keke Mahboob Man.
Written and directed by
Maryam Moghadam and Behtash Sanaeeha.
I like that we do this thing now where we don't really talk about... Well, I mean, I didn't do it last time for Salem Cinema, and we didn't discuss it together about our feelings so that we can go into this podcast not knowing what the other person thought of the film.
Yeah.
Because I thought about briefly texting in a public group chat that we're in, my opinion on something, and I was like, you know what?
Me too.
I don't want Farhan to know. And so I messaged Afra privately and told him.
Oh, what did you tell him?
Let's dive into it with a plot summary. 70-year-old Mahin has been widowed for 30 years and her 2 children live abroad. She's living a lonely life in Tehran. One day, she decides to join her friends for afternoon tea and finds a new spark in her heart, choosing to revive her love life. A chance encounter with a lonely taxi driver named Faramaz leads to a fateful, unforgettable evening full of laughs, memories, tears, and wine. It has a Rotten Tomato score of
100%.
Is it 100%? I was just checking right now.
Yeah, I thought you were testing me.
And an audience score of what?
Nothing, because it doesn't have enough yet. And the average score on Rotten Tomatoes is 8.4 out of 10.
So the 100% is the critical score, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it certified fresh?
That I don't know. Let me check. Nope, not yet.
All right. Well, so I ask you, Farhan June, what did you think of My Favorite Cake?
I liked it. Yeah, I liked it a lot. I think I'm going to go through a couple general notes that I wrote down here, kind of in chronological order of the film. There's a scene early on where you're like establishing her and her group of friends, and they're all talking over lunch and they're making jokes and stuff. And I thought that it was really cute. I thought the film did a really good job at building very naturalistic and very authentic scenes between people. And they were very endearing and very sweet. I think the conversation, she has like a video call with her daughter who's living outside of Iran and like has her own kid. I think she's in like Europe.
I think Sweden. I think you hear background Swedish talking is what me and Behtash assumed when we watched it together.
Yeah, I figured it was like German or Swedish or something. And there was nice commentary in that scene on how sometimes younger generations are a little dismissive of the older generations. Mm-hmm. Like the daughter fully hangs up on the mom while she's like running off taking care of her own kid.
Yeah.
There's so many old people in this movie was like a note that I wrote. And I think that they're all so adorable and like so endearing. And it's even the guy who's just like eating a chocolate bar or whatever in the park.
Yeah. Yeah.
The guy who's like the park cleaner. I liked him a lot. And that might be because that guy kind of reminded me of my own dad.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, I like that guy a lot. Yeah. This woman is just like so focused on not coming across as a loser to her daughter, to her friends, that she's just constantly lying about where she is and who she's with.
Yeah.
And at first, because of that, I was kind of like, oh, I don't know how I feel about this character. She feels dishonest. And then you get to the scene with the morality police.
Okay.
And the scene with the morality police immediately won me over to her side. Like, she was such a firecracker. She had so much confidence in that scene. And from that point on, you really see her confidence throughout the rest of her scenes when she meets Faramars, who the rest of the movie is obviously about her and Faramars essentially on this like epic one night date for seniors. And it was just really nice to see that other side of her, you know, where at the beginning you're like, who's this old lady? Why does she care so much about her image? She's lying, all this stuff. Then when another side of her comes out, you're like, oh, this is who she really is. And that, I think, is where the film really won me over. Kaveh, what did you think of the film?
I absolutely loved the film.
I thought you were going to say you hated it.
One of my favorite Iranian movies I've seen in 5 years, maybe.
Wow.
I like this. Just comparing it, because with the other big Iranian movie from 2024 that has been nominated for an Oscar, which is Seed of the Sacred Fig, I like this movie more.
Wow. I'm surprised this didn't get like any kind of Oscar buzz.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't shortlisted, nothing.
Yeah, it did well on the festival circuit. It was very much popular. Like it was a topic. I'd heard about this film being talked about before I'd heard about Sacred Fig.
Yeah.
But my first note was, it's strange how immediately this film feels different. When you see this woman waking up out of bed and she doesn't have a rousari on, because why would someone be sleeping with a rousari on?
Right, yeah.
But if any other Iranian movie made in Iran, they'd find some way to do that, right? Like put
like a shower cap or something.
Shower cap. It instantly feels different. And with all the all the controversy that came behind what happened to this, which I'm sure you'll go into behind the scenes.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I can see how this would, like, what a brave, in my opinion, act of filmmaking from everybody top down, writer, directors, producers who live in Iran, the actors for being in this movie, little details I really love throughout the whole film. Like that man, you said, that old man sitting in the park. Like I liked his broom a lot. Like, the way his broom looked like a bundle of sticks tied together.
Oh, yeah. And it was like, it looked like the broom had broken once and it had another broomstick tied to it.
There's also like this idea, like I didn't mind that she lied at all, because I thought it was such an interesting, she seemed so lonely off the top, and she's got this little bit of pride she's trying to hold on to. But then all of the little punctuations of comedy throughout, which really made me like, it like really took me out of the sadness I felt for her. But something like her saying, she's like, oh, I'm with my friends right now. And her daughter's like, oh, tell your friends I say hi. But so she turns to that complete stranger with the broom and is like, my daughter says hi. And he's like, tell her I say hi too. Like these little moments.
He was so touched. He was so touched by it too.
Yeah. Just so sweet. Such a sweet movie. And I think we should talk a bit about it. If you haven't seen the film, we are going to spoil the film. I would strongly recommend listening to it until we give a spoiler warning, and then maybe watching the film on your own, unless you really don't care about the ending being spoiled. But there are like certain plot points that not knowing in advance could affect your enjoyment of the film, or one way or another. So I think we should like maybe talk about it a bit chronologically.
Sure, we can do a spoiler section when we hit deeper reaction, and then I can give like a...
Yeah, so let's avoid anything that would be that tantamount to a spoiler until deeper analysis. Cool. Just little things of like, she wants to go to a restaurant and all she wants to order is a specific type of coffee. And the things like, she's like, do you have a menu? And it's like, oh, we scan our QR code to get the menu. And she's like, looks at her, she's like, she doesn't even know what that means or how to do that. And she's like, I just want a café glacé, right? She orders. And it's like, we don't have that. And it's like, we have he names the type of coffee, and it's just like, this like sad loneliness of the world has moved on without her. Like she's stuck behind with times, and she doesn't fit in this modern day. Like she doesn't know how to scan a QR code. But just this stuff, it reminded me a lot of, have you seen the Alexander Payne film About Schmidt, starring Jack Nicholson?
No, but I know it.
It's really good. It's actually, I mean, it's a lesser Alexander Payne film in my opinion, but it's still a very strong film. It's about this loneliness in the wake of a man who loses his wife. He's a widower and trying to find meaning in his life late in life, like late stage meaning or late stage coming of age. And so it often reminded me of those feelings in Iranian film, but I just kept being in awe of just the bravery of all the things. Like when he finally meets this guy, they drink wine together, and how much of a controversial action that is to put into a film.
Right.
Seeing a couple get drunk together.
Yeah.
Man, I can't believe the guts they had to make that film. In a lot of ways, I think this is like a bravery. I mean, it is on the same footing of the bravery that it takes to take Sea to the Sacred Fig. I don't want to take anything away from that,
Yeah.
but it was almost like a more quieter resistance.
Well, I think it's showing like, hey, this is the type of stuff that happens in a lot of people's homes
Yeah.
throughout the country.
Yeah. Let's talk about the main character, Mahin. Like, what did you think of her? Because I loved how brave she was. I loved how she was so bold and she goes after what she wants.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That element of her was like so fascinating.
Again, like for me, I think originally I was kind of put off by her a little bit. At first I was like, okay, I don't know if I like her or not. Then there's a scene with her and her friends, and then I was starting to warm up to her. But seeing her just like lying about who she's with, what she's doing, who she's hanging out with, all that stuff, it was starting to lose me until the scene with the morality police.
Yeah.
Then I was like, I love this woman.
Yeah.
And the advice that she gives to the other young woman, and then she just like straight up goes for Faramars with like no hesitation. I was like, yo, this woman's awesome.
Isn't it also, she kind of says like, she says to the young girl, so she sees the woman who's being harassed by morality police. She gets involved and like argues. She almost gets arrested herself by getting involved. But then the morality police, like, they get scared off and leave her alone. And she's like, she tells the young woman, you have to stand up for yourself. If they see like weakness, they will use it. But if you stand up to them, they get more, they show their true colors and get flustered and will go away. And she's just like saying like, I remember like seeing this film with Behtash, who obviously grew up in Iran. And he's like, the writer and director of this film are kind of highlighting through this character, it's like this idea of like, don't do what we did, which is like, we just spent so much time letting them trample over us, thinking they'll go away, it's going to change soon. But this is the older generation being like, no, don't make our mistakes, stand up to them.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like this idea of like the fact that these are younger filmmakers telling a story where the lead is that other generation.
Yeah.
It's really profound. It's almost like saying like, this resistance still exists, but there was mistakes made from that generation.
Yeah. Yeah. Getting right into deeper analysis, huh, Kaveh?
Yeah, so she finally goes to a restaurant to eat a meal, and she meets these men talking to this taxi driver named Faramars. And Faramars is like, oh, I have nowhere to go. I got no wife and kids, so I just decided to take another shift. So I eat my dinner here or eat my lunch here.
Yeah, because they're roasting him for like, they're like, oh, look at this rich guy. He's always eating out. And he's like, I don't have a wife and kids to eat with. What are you talking about?
Yeah. And she immediately follows him and tries to go to his taxi company to order him to be her taxi.
Yeah.
He's still working his shift, so she waits out all day and night till the evening time for his shift to end, where he's waiting outside.
Yeah.
And the guy's boss is like, this woman's been waiting for you. She says she knows you or something. And he like comes out, he's like, do I know you? Like, she's like, no, you don't. I just thought you could drive me home. And like, it's so sweet.
It's
and
so
she's just
cute.
going after what she wants.
It feels a lot like a first date between like two teenagers. Do you know what I mean?
Very much so, yeah.
Like two 13-year-olds, even not even like 17 or 18. Like it feels like two 13-year-olds. They both haven't been on a date or had a romantic partner for so long. They're both so out of practice. They're like very bashful with each other, but they still have that like confidence that comes with having lived that long. Mm-hmm. So it's like a nice combination of like bashful confidence. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And this is not a deeper analysis thing, but I just noticed like this motif or the metaphor used. Do you remember when they're like first cutting up sabzi or something? They're sitting at the table in her kitchen, and the table they're sitting at isn't really one to be sitting at, so it's like high on them.
Yeah.
They're like the table's like up to like their chest.
Yeah.
So when they're both sitting there talking, they seem like little kids at the table when she first pours them the wine, because they're not sitting at like the dining table. They're sitting at like the
counter table.
Yeah. Yeah. And even that, I was just like pointing out that it looked like two kids.
Yeah.
Two small kids sitting at a table, like sitting there, which is really cute.
I love how they're both so smiley with each other, and they're like really taking each other's time talking to each other, and they're nervous with some of their responses.
Yeah.
But they're still taking leaps of confidence with like the contents of what they're saying to each other.
Yeah. Here's the question I'd posed for Behtash and Maryam when we watched it. I said, when was the last time you saw someone drinking in an Iranian film?
Layla and her brothers.
Oh, yeah, I guess they are drinking. They drink beers in that movie.
And there's like champagne at the party and stuff.
But don't they mention the beer being non-alcoholic in the movie? I don't remember.
The beers might have been, but the champagne at the wedding, or not the wedding, the birthday celebration. Was it? What was it? Engagement, birthday? I can't remember now.
It was a wedding.
It wasn't even the wedding. It was before the wedding.
Was that film shot in Iran?
Which one?
Layla's Brothers.
Yeah.
Okay, I wonder then, there was scenes of them drinking beer. I think in the movie they say it's non-alcoholic beer. But aside from that, it's just such a sight so rarely seen in Iranian films. There was a lot of S's in that sentence.
Say that 5 times fast.
Such a sight so rarely seen. But I really liked it. She has her own like wine that's someone had made for her and given her a bottle that is untouched and uncorked.
Yeah.
Just kind of her special occasion wine. Did you also notice how many outfit changes she has throughout the night?
It's like 4, isn't it?
Yeah, she changes like 3 or 4 times. And did you get the reference to why that was with her conversation with her daughter?
No.
It's such a cute moment. Because her daughter's like, did you get the new dress I sent you? She's like, yeah, it's like, but don't send me, you don't need to send me this many dresses. I have nowhere to go and nothing to do with them. Like, I have no special occasion to put them on. Oh, that's
really sweet.
So she's got a whole thing. So that the night she comes on, she's all these dresses. So she keeps changing her outfit because she wants to, she has like all these like unworn dresses. So she keeps having outfit changes.
And Faramars isn't even like criticizing or weirded out by it. He's like, oh my God, you changed again. He's like, it's like exciting to him.
Yeah, Faramaz is super cute. Then I remember this. I've given this note a lot as a story editor on scripts. There's a scene when he goes into the bathroom. I always say to people, this is a little screenwriting tip for all you film buffs out there. I always love seeing characters alone, no matter who they're with.
Yeah.
I always try to say, find a moment when they're alone, whether it's go to the bathroom or whatever and looking at themselves in the mirror, because people are their truest selves when they're alone.
Oh, that's really good.
Even if it's someone that they love and care about or whatever, everyone has a version of themselves they show. But when you see the cameras alone with someone in the bathroom staring at themselves in the mirror, they're not acting anymore, right? They're not performing anything. They're themselves. And Faramaz goes in there, and in that moment, he kind of like goes to the washroom, he pees, and then looks at himself, and a genuine smile, even when he's alone in the bathroom, overcomes him. And that's such a sweet smile because it's a smile of him just thinking about the day he's having and the way this woman's making him feel. So yeah, love that moment. Then when he comes out of the bathroom, at least the dance scene, which is like a long tracking shot, following him down the room and in the hall, and they start dancing together.
Yeah,
he finally works up the nerve and from the inebriation to like get up and dance, and I loved it.
His dance is so cute. His little like finger, and then the 5 fingers up, and then he switches to the other one.
Yeah. Every moment is just these two are the cutest couple you've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's really, really sweet. It's almost manipulative how cute it is.
Yeah, I think also like having seen enough of these Iranian thriller films that all of a sudden become a thriller, I kept thinking like halfway through the movie, this is going to become a thriller.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, is she like secretly a murderer? Oh, is he secretly a murderer? Like I thought it was going to take a really dark turn.
No way.
And like someone was going to be a hitman or something, or like, oh, maybe this is commentary on how she's like, oh, you can't give these people an inch, whatever. And this is her like getting revenge on all these men. Or
no way. You really thought that?
I feel like I've just been so hurt and traumatized.
Right, yeah. You thought a hitman was going to show up.
I'm using traumatized very lightly. I probably shouldn't. But my point being that I've been like conditioned to think that like these very dark things are going to happen every time we're watching an Iranian movie. Mm-hmm. That when people are having a genuinely sweet time together, it was hard for me to enjoy it.
Yeah. Can we do spoiler talk here?
Sure, we can do spoiler talk here.
Okay, if you haven't seen the film and you're genuinely interested in this really, really powerful love story film, go ahead and watch it here. If you've seen it or you don't care about spoilers, keep listening. But we do highly recommend the film.
If you want to avoid spoilers, skip ahead to 24 minutes and 45 seconds.
Well, that's the thing. You ended up being right, though. Your trauma ended up revealing itself to be true because... Of course, like in any other Ron movie, the man has a heart attack and dies in the end, just when they've met the love of each other's life.
But I will say that it wasn't like a murder. Do you know what I mean?
I know.
There wasn't like a nefarious like intention. It was just life.
Which I never thought it was going to go that way. But I remember halfway through the movie enjoying it so much that like it dawned on me, and I was like, oh no, I hope not. They better not kill off one of these two. And I got really worried that was going to happen. And I have to honestly say this, Farn, I genuinely mean this when I say this.
Yeah.
Look me in the eyes.
I'm looking.
In my opinion, one of the most devastating movie endings I've seen in a long, long time.
Did you cry?
No, I didn't cry. I was angry. I was more angry than sad.
I was also angry. Because
I'll say this from a writing standpoint.
And sad. I was very sad.
I agreed. Like I would, if I wrote the script, I would probably do the same thing.
Yeah.
But I'm like, ugh, it's probably the right move that he dies. But at the same time, I was like, I'm so mad this woman doesn't get happiness because bearing the lead, the couple decide to finally maybe get a little bit intimate, and the guy, as she's getting ready, and she's finally made her favorite cake, which she's never been able to enjoy with another person, which is the title of the film.
Mm-hmm.
She goes, I've made this cake for you to enjoy. I always have to eat it alone. She goes into the other room and sees the man has had a heart attack on the bed and died.
Yeah.
It's so sad that this woman doesn't get a happy ending.
Yeah.
I was so devastated, like genuinely bummed out. I woke up the next morning, which is today, and I told Maryam, I'm like, I'm still upset about it. Like, I love the movie.
Yeah.
And I get that why that movie has to end that way, because life sometimes is painful and hard, and maybe that's the point. But come on, man. Can this fictional character not get, like, a happy ending?
Yeah.
Like, I so wanted her to have the happy ending.
In a way, she does.
Yeah, it's arguable, but go on. Let me hear.
Well, did you catch what happens in the last shot of the film?
The last shot is at the back of her head, right?
Yeah.
What happens?
Kava, she's dead.
I didn't notice that.
She takes his pills.
Oh, that's even sadder.
I know, but but the other side of this though is that both of them got to have this thing that they didn't get to experience for so long. You know what I mean?
Hang on a second. I thought his pills were Viagra.
Was it?
Yeah, because they're like blue diamond pills, which are notoriously the Viagra thing. Now maybe
you might be right.
Maybe it would have been. It might have been like an Iranian knockoff offshoot thing, but the blue diamond shape, specifically showing the close up of the pills.
Yeah,
I was like, because they were about to maybe get intimate. He was getting ready for her.
Even if she doesn't kill herself with the pills, she's definitely dead in that last shot. She's not moving. She's not breathing. It's from behind.
Okay.
She's dead, bro.
I watched it with two other people and none of us caught that.
Pull up the shot if you have it. But like, to me, it's like, it sucks because neither of them got to live beyond that, but they did get to experience this thing that they were both missing for so long. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get all that. I just didn't.
It's very bittersweet.
Yeah.
And I was sad because I was like, for all the same reasons that you said, I was genuinely sad. The movie got a very real reaction from me.
Yeah.
Because I would have loved to have seen them be together, and I think that they deserve to be together.
Did you see his death coming?
Yeah, his death I felt was like the foreshadowing from his death I thought was pretty obvious for me. That's why I was thinking that she was going to maybe kill him, whether he tried to attack her or she went after him. And as he was getting drunker and drunker, I was like, oh, this guy's going to die. Because earlier on in the film, when he's like sitting next to his friends and they're all talking about like, they're like, oh, well, we're like halfway in their graves ourselves. And as they're talking, he keeps talking about how he's almost dead and how he's old. And then she's like, no, you're still such a young, strapping man. She asks him, do you have like a pension? And he's like, no, I wouldn't. I turned it down. I didn't even take the money for a grave.
Yeah.
Right. Like there's enough instances where they talk about death and graves, retirement and wills and all that, that for me, I was like, oh, he's going to die. The circumstances around how he was going to die, I didn't know. Did you see it coming?
Yeah, I just figured because he's old, he's been drinking wine, and then you see him taking some sort of pill, whether it was like heart medication or whatever.
Right.
And he like gets up and he's winded and all this stuff. I'm like, oh no, please don't go in the direction I think it's going.
Yeah.
But I'm just watching the clip again, and I don't know if it's clear cut. I mean, I'm not saying your interpretation is wrong, but there's really nothing that's definitively saying she died. It's just the back of her head. It doesn't even slump over or anything. Like, I thought you might see her like head drop or something, or sloops.
No, like I'm saying she's not even breathing. She's not breathing. She's not moving.
I'm watching it right now. I don't know. I mean,
and like, I don't know, a black cat passes her by. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe that's deeper analysis. Maybe I'm reading too much into it.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, it's a theory. I just don't know if it's like, I'm trying to figure out if it's canon.
Let me look it up. I didn't even look at, I was so confident that I didn't even Google this.
You might be I mean, again, of the three people we watched it with you last night, nobody had that theory. But even the photograph that he takes, she finally takes a picture of the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then after he passed away, she looks at the photo, and like even her like old ass couldn't take a good photo, and the photo's blurred, and she didn't get a good shot of his face, so she doesn't even have that to keep.
Yeah.
Everything was so devastating. Every moment was so heartbreaking.
Yeah. It's so sad.
Really sad movie. Really excellent movie. Behind the scenes in trivia, where Farn's going to take it away with all the BTS.
Time for me to make Kaveh proud. This is usually Kaveh's section, but we recorded 2 episodes back to back, and Kaveh has a wife and 2 kids, and he's very busy, so I offered to take this one on. Maryam Moghadam, one of the 2 directors of the film, was born in Tehran in 1970. She studied at the Performative Arts School in Gothenburg, Sweden, where she appeared in several theatrical productions. After returning to Iran, she acted in various films, including Closed Curtain, which is a 2013 film by Jafar Panahi, which earned the Silver Bear Award at the Berlin Film Festival. Behtash Sanaeeha, the other director of the film, was born in Shiraz in 1980. Wow, I didn't realize 10 years younger. He left his master's program to focus on screenwriting and directing short films and commercials. He created 2 animated TV series and directed the television film Chalcio in 2011, which marked the beginning of his creative partnership with Maryam Moghadam, who later became his wife.
They're like the Noah Baumbach and Greta Gerwig of Iran.
In 2015, the 2 collaborated again on Risk of Acid Rain, a film they co-wrote with Maryam in the lead role and Behtash directing. Their directorial debut as a duo came in 2018 with documentary The Invincible Diplomacy of Mr. Naderi, which won the Hafez Award for Best Documentary. Together, they have since directed 2 scripted feature films as well, Ballad of White Cow in 2020, and My Favorite Cake, which is this film. Lily Farhadpour, the lead who plays Mahin, is also a prominent journalist and activist. She has only been acting for the last 10 to 15 years. Did you know that, Kaveh?
No.
Surprise. The film is notable for its candid portrayal of Iranian life, depicting scenes of women without headscarves in private settings, as we talked about, dancing and consuming alcohol, activities that are commonplace in private, but prohibited from public depiction under Iranian law. This commitment to authenticity was a deliberate choice by the directors to challenge the long-standing censorship in Iranian cinema. There's a scene in the movie where there's the morality police who are trying to take away a group of women, and they end up leaving one behind when Mahin stands up for her and argues with the morality police. Mm-hmm. So the way that they shot that, do you know about the story?
No.
The directors applied for a filming permit under a different name and presented a totally, like they gave fake names. They gave a fake script for a short film that took place under like similar circumstances, but that conformed to acceptable themes to avoid suspicion. It allowed them to shoot the outdoor scene without immediate interference from authorities. The production of this film also coincided with the Zan Zendegi Azadi movement following the murder of Mahsa Jina Amini at the hands of Iranian authorities a year prior. Protests would have been going on during the making of this film, so it likely would have influenced why they included that scene in the film. I couldn't find a direct link to them saying, oh, it's there because of it, but I feel like it's a safe assumption.
Yeah.
During post-production, Iranian authorities raided the home of the film's editor, seizing equipment and footage. Fortunately, a version of the film had been secured in Paris, allowing post-production to continue. Subsequently, Moghadam and Sanaeeha were subjected to travel bans, preventing them from attending international premieres, and faced legal charges, including accusations of propaganda against the regime and promoting immorality. The Iranian government wouldn't let the directors attend Berlin, so the actor Lily Farhadpour, who played the lead, read the following statement from them.
We have come to believe that it is no longer possible to tell the story of an Iranian woman while obeying strict laws such as the mandatory hijab. Women for whom the red lines prevent the depiction of their true lives as full human beings. This time we decided to cross all of the restrictive red lines and accept the consequences of our choice to paint a real picture of Iranian women, images that have been banned in Iranian cinema ever since the Islamic Revolution. My Favorite Cake is a film made in praise of life. This is a story based on the reality of the everyday lives of middle-class women in Iran. A close look at women's solitude as she enters her golden years. A vision of the reality of women's lives which has not often been told. It is a story that is contrary to the common image of Iranian women and similar to the life stories of many lonely people on this planet about savoring the short, sweet moments in life. Ladies and gentlemen, we proudly dedicate our premiere screening to the honorable and brave women of our country who have moved to the front lines of the fight for social change, who are attempting to tear down the walls of outdated and fossilized beliefs, and who sacrifice their lives to achieve freedom.
Peter Bradshaw of The Guardian also wrote about their travel ban, saying, as well as everything else, this wonderfully sweet and funny film will contribute to the debate about whether repressive regimes are the nursery of artistic greatness. There's something quietly magnificent in it, as moments like these in life are poignantly brief, but may never have them at all.
In December 2023, approximately 30 film organizations, festivals, and filmmakers, as well as non-governmental organizations for freedom of expression, wrote an open letter calling on the Iranian authorities to immediately drop all charges against the duo filmmakers and to lift their travel ban. Signatories included the Berlinale, the International Coalition for Filmmakers at Risk, which is known as the ICFR, and PEN America. In January 2024, after its nomination to compete at the 74th Berlinale, the festival again called for freedom of travel and freedom of expression for the directing duo. In December 2024, the directors, forbidden from making movies, working, and traveling, were on trial in Iran, held in Evin prison for propaganda against the regime, breaking Islamic rules by making a vulgar movie, and spreading prostitution and libertinism.
I have one more little tidbit. At the end of the film, there's a music box rendition of a famous song. Do you know what the song was?
Oh, I didn't know the song, but we talked about how it's the only song that plays that's not diegetic in the film.
It's Reckless by Madison Beer.
Oh, okay. I don't know what that song is.
I was trying to figure out if there was a deeper meaning to why the use of that song.
I came in like a wrecking ball. That one?
No.
Oh, that's a different song?
Yeah.
That's not Reckless?
No. Because Reckless is about this woman talking about how her now ex was cheating on her.
Okay.
And she's talking about how he was reckless, right?
Are you sure this was the song?
That's the song, 100%.
You like saw the notes of this, or you just saw it like how you saw her at the end? Which
No. Here, look, I'm going to play this.
Did you like switch to a different movie at the end?
No. Okay, for the listeners, I'm going to play the song from the end of the movie here. And here is Madison Beer's version of the same song. Yeah, that's pretty much it for behind the scenes and trivia for me, unless you have more. I have more for critical reactions.
Critical reactions.
So, as we mentioned, 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, average score of 8.5, 8.4 out of 10. The film won multiple awards at international festivals, including Best International Feature at Cinefest, the Silver Hugo at Chicago International Film Festival, and most notably, it premiered in February of 2024 at the Berlin International Film Festival, where the directors were nominated for the Golden Bear. The film also won prizes at the Berlin Festival for the Ecumenical Jury Award. Ecumenical? You know what that word means, Kaveh?
Okay.
It's a jury award.
Okay.
And the Fibrecci Award.
Fibreschi.
We've talked about this one before.
Fibreschi Award. Yeah.
It's essentially like a Critics Association award. I have also a quote here from Leslie Felperin,
Good.
A reviewer from The Hollywood Reporter.
Love her.
A delicious slice of life, which is nice because, it's cake.
I don't get it.
Pretty great.
You have to explain that.
Moghadam and Sanaeeha and the actors turned this set piece into a whirling dervish of elderly seduction. Executed with crack comic timing, precise choreography for both the camera and the characters themselves, and one of the all-time great crash cuts. What's the crash cut that she's talking about?
The crash cut is I'm actually had a comment. It's like when they're preparing to go in the go to shower. It's like, should I go shower with the clothes on? And then all of a sudden it just cuts to them sitting with their clothes fully on in the water.
So
just
funny.
Hitting them.
Yeah, that was
really
great.
Good.
Yeah,
it was such.
yeah.
Man, that's the little moments of comedy.
Yeah, I do think it's weird for her to say that it was a whirling dervish of elderly seduction, because this film doesn't talk about any Sufi mysticism philosophy at all.
Yeah, the critic wanted to just put that whirling dervish into a film.
I thought you said you love Leslie.
I don't know who that is.
Now you're cutting ties.
Yeah.
Tara Brady from the Irish Times quoted saying, "A late narrative development swerves the meet cute into less sure-footed terrain, but this remains an encounter to treasure, jollied along by quiet political protest and poignant notes on widowhood."
Mm-hmm.
That's what I got.
Thank you, Farhan. Okay, deeper analysis. I want to start with a quote.
Okay.
About late stage. I feel like this is like a deeper analysis here. About the late stages of oppression.
Okay.
In life. RogerEbert.com's Robert Daniels. Did you read that quote?
I did. I didn't include it though.
Robert Daniels compared the character of Mahin to the lead in the Georgian drama Blackbird, Blackbird, Blackberry, writing, each woman is seeking a kind of an autumnal relationship, defying their oppressive surroundings before it's too late. Behtash has said to me when watching this movie that the fact that they're making this film shows a sign of the times in Iran. Literally saying that a film like this would not have been made 5 years ago. Not because it was made with the blessing of the government, but the act of defiance of making this film was something the common Iranian wouldn't have done 10 years ago.
Yeah.
The existence of this film shows monumental step forward towards progression, fighting against fascism. The fact that women aren't wearing hijabs as much anymore, rusaris, when they go out. And this film existing proves that times are changing and that the defiance is really growing. And I think this film is a film about oppression, and a small oppression through the acts of seeing a couple drink wine, or even the larger thematic feminist perspective of a woman who is she's not shy to go after what she wants. This, I joked about it halfway through the movie. This is a movie about a woman who's horny. And she like really wants to go out and meet guys. Like she goes out to the park to ask what day all the male runners come by because she wants to sit on the bench and watch them. Or meet one.
Well, I think she wants to meet one. I think it's also someone who misses companionship and love and affection, because like her kids aren't there, her grandkids aren't there. Yes. All her friends have like other things that they like to get up to.
But the deeper analysis is that with that comes intimacy, and she's craving it, and that's okay to show in films. And the fact that they show this is a step forward for progressing the tropes of the women roles you've seen in Iranian cinema. And I'm going to go to about this a little bit more in my final statement, but in my opinion, this is post-punk filmmaking in Iranian cinema. And I'll explain why in the final analysis, so tune in for that.
Were you surprised how quickly she invites him over? Like, I thought we were going to get some like courting, like they were going to like go get coffee together, and then we'd see them going for a walk. But she went straight to, do you want to come over tonight?
I wasn't surprised at that point. I got what this woman was after. And I was like, I mean, it's still a surprising act, but I wasn't shocked by it.
Right.
And yeah, lastly, I just think this film is about how the fighting spirit lives on in you and how she never kind of lost. She stands up to the morality police. She stands up for what she believes in, and she kind of goes after what she wants. And she's a septuagenarian woman in Iran. That's commendable. It's awesome. And I will explain why it's post-punk filmmaking in my final analysis. But yes, that is my deep analysis.
I have one thing that I want to mention, one question I want to ask you, and then I'm going to give another spoiler warning because I want to talk a little bit more about the ending.
Okay, so this is Mention, Ask, Spoil.
Yeah, Mention, Ask, Spoil. The first one is when they are in the garden together, she's plucking fresh herbs and bringing it over to him to eat. And while he's eating the fresh herbs, he's fixing all the light fixtures and turning on the lights in the garden. It's nighttime, right? So it's lighting up the garden. And I was just thinking, she's bringing him life and he brings her light. And I was like, this is beautiful.
Cute. Very sweet. That's the mention.
Yeah. Okay, now the ask. Why the song Reckless by Madison Beer? What do you think, Kaveh, is the...
I don't know. I don't know anything. I've never heard that song before.
Here, let me give you the lyrics.
We crawled, we falled, you boom, 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 boom. That song?
There you go.
I don't know. It's like you say, it sounds like a very modern breakup song.
Yeah. I wonder if it was just a matter of like, we like the sound of the song?
Yeah, it might have been just... yeah.
Although, I have an answer, but this leads into the spoiler. If you want to avoid spoilers, jump ahead to 40 minutes and 55 seconds. Okay, so the whole movie might be an allegory for the revolution.
Go on.
People were celebrating a change. We were talking about a reawakening of the country and the culture. It was a very momentous time for a lot of people who wanted to see things be different, only for it to suddenly die, for the country to basically die, for freedom to die. And people had to live with it. It was a corpse of a country is what came of it.
Yeah.
And looking back, that one moment in time was a blur for people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
People can remember the time before and the time after.
Yeah.
And the photo that she has of him is a blur.
Ah.
So all she has to remember is that blur. right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was the enlightener of her for her, right? And he talked about how it's a fertile land, and now the enlightened are buried in the fertile land, right? So going back to the Madison Beer song, that song is about how someone feels betrayed. That their love ran off with somebody else.
Yeah, and they came in like a wrecking ball.
Yeah, they came in like a wrecking ball. How could you be so reckless? How could you be so reckless?
Yeah.
How could you be so reckless with someone's heart? Maybe this song isn't just about a breakup, and maybe it's not just a random connection where the lyrics don't mean anything. Maybe, just maybe, it is a film about the revolution, and it's talking about how things didn't go the way that they were meant to go. And now this woman is left heartbroken.
That's very good. I like that. I applaud you. That is a true deeper analysis.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
That is a deep, deep analysis.
One last thing about her potentially being dead in the last shot. Again, she's crossed by a black cat. It's out of focus behind her, in front of her in the final shot. She's not moving. She's not breathing, which for me, I was like, oh, I think she's dead.
I think you need to Google even one other person who has that thought.
Okay.
And show it to me.
Okay.
Best scene. I had a lot. I mean, I love so much of this movie that it's so hard to find a best scene.
I have two front runners. What's yours?
Well, mine, I liked a lot of it, but the moment he comes out of the bathroom and starts dancing with her in that funny little dancing move is a tracking shot throughout the house too. It doesn't cut for quite a while.
Yeah.
And I really love the choreography of it. I love the how euphoric they both are, so happy, in love. Like all of that was so great.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah. What about, okay, what's your other?
The other one was the scene where she stands up to the morality police.
That's a great scene.
Yeah, those are the two for me.
I also really like, remember when he calls off work? Like he's just like,
yeah.
He's like, he's calling in to see if he can end his shift for the day.
Yeah.
So cute. Damn, that's poetry. I have two. I have a runner-up too. So
I also have two.
Okay. Well, why don't you?
One of mine is at the 25-minute mark and one's at the 28-minute mark.
I don't think I have either of those. Mine are both after, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of them we already mentioned. It's the scene with the morality police. Mahin says to the young woman, "You can't give these people an inch. The more you humble yourself before them, the more they'll beat you down."
نباید جلوشون کم بیاری. هرچقدر تو مظلوم‌تر باشی اینا بیشتر تو سرت میزنن.
Yeah. And why'd you like that scene?
This is the old generation being like, the old way of doing things didn't work.
Yeah.
We've come to learn that the only way that you can do it is if you push back. I think that's also reflected when you're seeing the scene with the group of old men at the restaurant.
Yeah.
And one of them's like, yeah, I think I'm going to go join the protests. And it's talking about how, yeah, these older people are now becoming quickened. They want to go and take part. They're almost being reborn in a sense. And I like that. So this is my second damn that's poetry, is actually in that same moment when the guy says, oh, I want to go join the protests. And his buddy's like, they don't even listen to younger people. Why would they listen to you? You're halfway in the grave. And then he responds with the state of this economy, you'd be lucky to afford a grave.
Yeah.
That was great. I don't want to get into the deeper analysis of that or the spoilers or whatever, but it's so fitting. I love it.
My first one is when he's sitting there eating a meal with her out in the garden, and he says, "When I woke up this morning, I really didn't want to go to work. I thought to myself, what a joyless life. Each day is exactly the same. Nothing new ever happens. I never thought I'd end up here enjoying your dolme."
Aww.
امروز صبح که از خواب بیدار شدم حوصله نداشتم برم سر کار نشسته بودم به خودم فکر میکردم آخه این چه زندگیه که من دارم هر روزش عین هم بدون هیچ دلخوشی نگو که قراره بیام اینجا دلمه تو رو بخورم.
So sweet. This is the other scene I really liked. They're laughing and enjoying the dancing together, and he goes, "We'll have to keep the noise down or else the neighbors will call the morality police." And he says, "What do you think they'll make us do?" He goes, "They'll probably make us get married." We laughed very hard.
Yeah, I like that. That was a funny line.
Yeah, and they both laugh really hard. Great scenes. Favorite performance, Farhan?
It's a tie.
Yeah, I had both. I said I was going to say whichever one you didn't say.
That's so funny.
So we both just agree.
Yeah, they're both so good.
Yeah, the cat and the third extra in the background of the restaurant, right?
Yeah.
Those are the two we're talking about?
Yeah, to give them a proper shout out.
Yeah.
Lily Farhadpur and Ismail Mehrabi.
Very good. Excellent. Festival of Cons. I'll go first.
If you want to avoid spoilers, jump ahead to 46 minutes and 9 seconds.
Literally just the ending. I know it's a better movie because of it, but it made me so mad, so upset. I couldn't stand it. I was so heartbroken that even this fictional character doesn't get a happy ending. It made me really upset. I would argue, if I was writing or producing this film, just make it a worse movie to give a fictional character a happy ending. Sacrifice you make for fictional characters.
I have no cons, but to follow up on what you're saying, I wrote here, the ending made me so sad. She finally had such a wonderful night with this man. She found a true, genuine connection and then immediately lost it.
And the thing that makes me sad is they're both 70. They could have had like another 10, 15, 20 years together. Like that could have been a lifelong happy, like not lifelong, but like that could have been a long second, third, final chapter of their life.
She also like can't even mourn him publicly.
Yeah, she can't let anyone know.
Because she's going to get in trouble for it too.
Yeah.
And his memory might even be like hard for like his friends. Like
he didn't really have too much in his life though. Like no one's really looking for him.
He had friends.
He had friends.
He had coworkers. Yeah. He must have had like maybe he had nieces and nephews.
That's the thing that I'm sure the filmmakers would debate. It's like it's not a sad ending from his perspective. Is she asks him quite literally like, "Are you afraid of dying?" And he says, "No, I'm afraid of dying alone."
Yeah, yeah.
And he doesn't die alone.
He doesn't.
He dies with someone missing him.
Yeah.
So you could argue that he gets his happy ending.
Yeah.
Despite how heartbreaking it is for her.
Yeah.
Double feature lineup where we pair up the feature with another film.
You ready for this, Kaveh?
It's Batman Begins, of course. Right.
With everything we just talked about, with everything she went through,
I'm so scared right now.
I'm going to follow up with the obvious sequel to this movie, the movie Up.
Ah, yes.
Coming out of watching this movie, watching a movie like Up, I think would give you such a satisfying conclusion to your night. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it would definitely lift you up from your spirits in a house full of balloons. That's a good choice.
I thought you were going to roast me for that.
No, it's a good choice. I have two. I mentioned Alexander Payne's About Schmidt, but I also want to add Richard Linklater's Before Sunrise or any of the movies in the Sunrise Sunset trilogy because Julie Delpy and Ethan Hawke play this couple that in the first film, they meet on a chance encounter while they're both traveling. And the entire film is a day in the life of this couple meeting, falling in love. And they spend the entire day walking through the city and talking to each other and falling in love. And the film ends with they both have to go their separate ways. Spoiler alert for like a 30-year-old film.
I actually haven't seen them.
But then there's a second and third film. So
I know.
That fills in like...
I know the premise. Yeah.
But it is that exact thing of day in the life of a couple meeting and falling in love. Each film is one day. So I think that would pair. I mean, it wouldn't be as fun and as uplifting as Up would be to watch that after, but it's very much similar tonally.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Thank you. Can this be a modern Hollywood remake? I say no. I don't want it. Just can't imagine it. Don't think you'd do anything for it.
Same. I guess you could, but...
You could, but like don't.
Yeah, I feel like part of what makes this so much more rich is that it's happening in the backdrop of this like totalitarian regime. I mean, with the state of the U.S. right now, maybe in 5 years.
Yeah. But but unless they go over that eventual draconian overhaul, there's nothing interesting about watching an elderly couple in America drinking wine.
Yeah.
Final thoughts and grades. I wavered between A and A+, but I reserve A+ to very few films. I'm reluctant. There's very few flaws in this film, but I'm going to give it an A. Solid A.
Nice. I was all over the place on this one.
Really? Like you were down to F, D, C?
No. I all in the A tier, but I was all over the place in the A tier.
Yeah.
It's stupid, but like I'm giving it an A because the ending just made me too sad.
Yeah, that's not stupid. That's fine. It's how you felt.
I felt like if there was one Iranian movie to get an ending like one that we didn't get, I think this would have been the one. And I just wish it was a little different, the ending.
Yeah.
It's not a con because I get the ending. And like you said, if I wrote it, I would have given it the same ending.
Yeah.
But God damn it if I wasn't sad. So A-. That means the Cinema Rex show average for My Favorite Cake is an A-.
If there has ever been a sure sign that the landscape of Iranian cinema is finally about to evolve, look no further than the subtle cinematic beauty, strength, and bravery that is this film. With culture must come counterculture, and so there's always been a matching undercurrent of anti-authoritarian resentment that just loves to see those of high status brought down a peg or two. Thus, the presence of punk in the 70s music scene or alternate comedy movement in the 80s, And in the Iranian film sphere, movements towards genre filmmaking by young, angry, disenfranchised Iranian artists making films with shocking themes and subject matter, like Ali Abbasi's Holy Spider or Anna Liliamour's A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. So if punk is about burning down the status quo of Iranian filmmaking, then post-punk must be the filmmaking that is built on those ashes. Enter My Favorite Cake. Plans have a way of going awry in this lovely, intimate, tragicomedy tale of late-blooming love in the shadow of Iran's repressive regime. In the gentlest of ways, this is a subversive piece of filmmaking, a defiant FU to the oppressive regime. We applaud the brave directors Maryam Moghadam and Behtash Sanaeeha, who were prevented from traveling to Berlin in February for the film's world premiere after the Iranian authorities confiscated their passports, having taken issues with scenes of hijab-free boozing, dancing, and a terrific sequence in which Mahin faces down the morality police. This film balances Iranian humanity with grace and determination. Perhaps more radical than the censor baiting, though, is the fact that My Favorite Cake trains its lens on lonely, ordinary older people, a demographic all too frequently invisible to filmmakers the world over. It's the subtle power of the brave decisions these filmmakers made that left such a powerful impact, and a film highly worthy of great praise and celebration. My Favorite Cake? More like my favorite film. Huh? Ending on a dumb pun.
Good job, Kaveh. How do you?
To all our listeners, thank you for tuning into the Cinemarex podcast.
Thank you.
To Farhan, thank you for all that you do, and behind the scenes, you so eloquently prepared.
Thank you, Kaveh.
To all our listeners.
Wait, Kaveh.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about me.
Farhan, you know how I feel about you.
Yeah, you're right.
But want me to D-dar.
Bye. Oh, remember to like, comment, subscribe, thumbs up, leave your review. Music for Cinema Rex was written and performed by Sohail Sadinejad.